Your cat could sleep anywhere, so why does it have to be on you? It's cute, no doubt, but that choice hides something most people never stop to decode. Sleep is the most defenseless a cat ever gets, which makes lying on you a bigger deal than it looks. And nearly every owner gets the real reason wrong. Let's start with the exact spot they pick on you. Have you ever noticed your cat almost always claims the same spot on you? It's rarely random. Where they choose to settle can reveal a lot about how they feel about you, though every cat is a little different, so think of this as a general pattern, not a strict rulebook. If they sleep on your chest, right over your heartbeat, that often points to closeness. They may be tuning into the rhythm of your breathing, a steady sound that can tell their body you're calm and safe. If they curl up by your head, or steal a corner of your pillow, one common explanation is that they're drawn to your scent, since your face and hair tend to carry it strongly. That's often a cat that wants to be wrapped up in you all night. Now, if they sleep down by your feet, don't take it personally. That's not necessarily your cat keeping distance. Many behaviourists suggest it can work like a lookout position close enough to notice when you move, while still keeping half an eye on the room. But here's what I want you to hold on to. There's one sleeping position, one specific way a cat lays itself on you, that many people consider the clearest physical signal of trust a cat can give. It ties directly into the real reason they picked you over everyone else, which we're unpacking at the end of this video. Keep it in the back of your mind. When we get there, it's going to land differently. Ever notice your cat isn't just near you at night, but pressed right into you, rubbing their face on your arm before they settle? There's a quiet exchange happening while you drift off, and most owners sleep straight through the meaning of it. Cats rely on scent the way we rely on sight, and for a cat, smell carries a lot of social information, including, researchers believe, cues about familiarity and safety. When they curl into you and start that slow rubbing, they're depositing their scent on you and picking up yours in return. In multi-cat households, cats that get along well often do this kind of mutual rubbing, and some behaviourists describe the result as a shared or group scent, a way of marking who belongs to the same social circle. It's a useful lens, though it's worth saying this is an interpretation built from observed behaviour, not something we can ask a cat to confirm. When your cat presses into you and rubs against you repeatedly, one reasonable reading is that they're folding you into that circle. You're not just the human who feeds them to their nose, you may be part of their scent world. And here's the part that stands out. A familiar, trusted scent does appear to have a calming effect on cats in various studies of feline stress and comfort. Being surrounded by a smell they associate with safety can help lower arousal and settle their nervous system, similar to how a familiar smell might instantly put you at ease. So a cat glued to your side isn't just clinginess. For many cats, it looks like one of the more direct ways they express "I trust you" that they have available. If it's starting to hit you just how much trust your cat hands over every night, hit like and subscribe so we can get this to more cat lovers who deserve to know why they might have been chosen. So, is your cat sleeping on you just because you're warm? That's the answer almost everyone lands on, and it feels right. Cats do seek out heat sunny windowsills, warm laundry, the top of the router, anywhere the temperature climbs. So of course they'd pick you. Case closed, right? Not so fast. Because if warmth were the whole story, your cat would have better options than you. A radiator holds a steady, even heat. A fresh pile of towels from the dryer is warmer and doesn't move. That laptop you just closed is practically begging to be slept on. Your cat already knows every warm spot in the house. They find them all day long without you. But at night, when it counts, many cats pass all of that up and climb onto the one thing that shifts, breathes, rolls over, and gets up at 3 a.m. As a heat source, honestly, you're not a great option. That doesn't mean warmth plays no role, it probably does, alongside comfort and habit. But if comfort and warmth were the only goals, the laundry pile would win most nights. Warmth looks like the full answer, but it's more likely a partial one, the easy explanation sitting on top of a deeper one. your cat isn't just chasing your temperature. There's likely something else your presence gives off that a radiator can't offer. Have you ever really looked at the shape your cat makes when they sleep on you? Each position tends to correspond loosely with how relaxed or alert a cat's body is though. As with anything in animal behaviour, individual cats vary, and context can change the picture. Start with the loaf paws tucked under, sitting upright like a little bread roll. This usually reads as a cat resting, but not fully off duty. Comfortable enough to settle, but still positioned to get up quickly if something changes. Then there's the tight curl nose to tail, wrapped into a ball on your lap. This is often described as a cat protecting its more vulnerable areas while still resting. Cozy, but with a bit of built-in caution. Now watch what happens when they sprawl out on their side, legs stretched, body loose, pressed against you. This tends to signal a cat that has let a lot of tension go. Those little twitches in their paws, the tiny running motions, are widely believed to occur during a light or REM-like sleep stage, when cats may be dreaming. And every so often, they roll onto their back and expose the belly chest open, legs relaxed, the softest part of their body facing up. Here's where I want to be careful, because this one gets oversimplified a lot online. A belly-up position is generally considered a sign that a cat feels physically safe enough to relax fully. The belly protects vital organs, and exposing it does suggest low-guardedness in that moment. But it is not a universal invitation to touch. Plenty of cats will happily show their belly to sleep, and then bite or scratch. If you actually touch it, the exposure is about comfort in that instant, not consent to be handled. If your cat does this, it's a good sign about how they feel around you. It's not necessarily an invitation. Before they even get to any of these positions, a lot of cats go through a small ritual needing a blanket, your leg or your stomach with their front paws, sometimes with claws slightly out, sometimes accompanied by purring or soft chirping sounds. One widely cited explanation traces needing back to kittenhood, when kittens instinctively push against their mother's belly to stimulate milk flow. Many behaviourists think adult cats retain this motion as a comfort behaviour, something that shows up specifically around individuals or places they associate with safety and contentment, not just anywhere. Purring adds another layer. Cats purr in a range of situations, including some stressful or painful ones, so purring by itself isn't automatically proof of happiness. But purring that shows up specifically as your cat settles onto you, paired with slow blinking, kneading, or a relaxed body, is generally read together as a contentment signal, rather than a standalone one. None of these behaviours prove anything in isolation. It's the combination scent rubbing, a chosen sleep position, kneading, slow blinks, a loose body that builds a more reliable picture of how safe and comfortable a cat feels with you. This kind of trust doesn't usually appear overnight, and it's worth talking about how it actually builds, because the timeline looks very different depending on the cat. Kittens go through what researchers often call a socialization window, roughly between 2 and 7 weeks old, when they're unusually open to forming bonds with humans and other animals. A kitten handled gently and consistently during that period tends to grow into an adult cat that finds human closeness, including sleeping on people, much easier to settle into. That early window is a big part of why some cats seem to trust people almost instantly, practically from the day you bring them home. Adult cats, especially ones adopted from shelters or rescued from rough situations, often work on a slower timeline. Their nervous systems may have learned, at some point, that people or unfamiliar situations weren't safe, and that kind of learning doesn't undo itself quickly. For a cat like this, sleeping on you isn't a single moment, it's usually the end result of weeks or months of small, repeated proof. Proof that you don't grab them when they don't want it. Proof that loud sounds in the house don't mean danger. Proof that being close to you doesn't come with a downside. If your cat took a long time to warm up, or still hasn't gotten there, that's not a reflection of you doing something wrong. Cats generalize slowly from specific experiences, and a difficult early history can take a long time to fully unlearn for some cats. It never fully does, and they simply find other ways to show affection instead. What matters more than speed is consistency, predictable routines, no forced handling, and letting the cat choose when to close the distance. Sleep, when it eventually happens on you, tends to be one of the last trust milestones a cat reaches, not one of the first, which is part of why it means as much as it does. If you live with other people, or other pets, you may have noticed your cat doesn't distribute its nighttime attention evenly. It picks someone. There isn't one single confirmed reason for this, but a few patterns show up often in cat behaviour research and clinical observation. Cats tend to gravitate toward whoever is calm and predictable around them. Consistent routines, gentle handling, and low-stress interactions build trust over time. They also tend to notice who respects their boundaries, including who lets them approach, rather than always initiating contact. And scent plays a role here too. The person whose smell is most consistently present in the places the cat already feels safe is often the person the cat migrates toward at night. This is also why the cat person in a household sometimes isn't the one who feeds the cat, plays with it the most, or dotes on it the hardest. Cats appear to weigh feeling safe and unpressured more heavily than they weigh amount of attention received. It's a preference that can look almost arbitrary from the outside, but usually isn't. If there's more than one animal in your house, this whole picture gets another layer worth mentioning. In homes with multiple cats, or a cat and a dog, who ends up sleeping on you can say something about the picking order, but not always in the direction people assume. It's not automatically the most dominant or confident animal that claims the human. Just as often, it's the more anxious or lower-ranking pet in the group, using you as a buffer zone the same way they might use a high shelf or a closed door, a spot the other animals are less likely to challenge them for. That also explains why some cats will happily sleep on you when the house is quiet, but relocate the moment another pet enters the room. It's rarely personal. It's usually a read on which spot, at that moment, offers the least competition and the most predictability. Timing shifts too, over the life of the relationship. Plenty of owners notice their cat becoming more of a sleep companion years into living together than it was in the first few months, not because anything dramatic happened, but because trust in cats tends to accumulate slowly, through thousands of small, uneventful interactions, rather than one turning point. A cat that mostly ignored you at 1-year-old sleeping curled against you at 6 isn't unusual. It's often just what a long, low-drama relationship with a cat looks like from the inside. It helps to zoom out for a second. Cats have lived alongside humans for roughly 10,000 years, but unlike dogs, they were never selectively bred for obedience or work. Cats largely domesticated themselves drawn to human settlements because grain stores attracted rodents, and rodents attracted cats. That history matters here, because it means a house cat's instincts are still shaped by their wild ancestors, small, largely solitary hunters whose survival depended on staying alert, staying hidden while vulnerable, and rarely fully lowering their guard around anything they hadn't already tested for safety. So when a modern house cat sleeps deeply on a human, that's not an instinct that evolution designed for convenience. It's an ancient, cautious nervous system making an exception repeatedly, night after night, for one specific creature it has decided isn't a threat. Before we get to the final piece, I want to address something, because I know not every cat in the audience does this. If your cat has never once slept on you, don't take that as a verdict on the relationship. Some cats are simply not lap and body sleepers by temperament, the same way some people aren't huggers even when they love you deeply. They might prefer sleeping a few feet away, or on a shelf, or curled up in a separate room entirely, while still seeking you out for play, following you room to room, or sitting near not on you during the day. Breed tendencies, past experiences, and plain individual personality all factor in here, and none of it cancels out affection. There's also a physical piece that gets overlooked. Older cats, or cats with joint pain, arthritis, or certain health conditions, may stop climbing onto laps or beds, simply because it's become physically uncomfortable to do so, even if the underlying trust hasn't changed at all. A sudden change in a previously cuddly cat's sleeping habits is actually one of the more common early signs owners notice before a vet visit uncovers something like arthritis. So if your cat used to sleep on you and stopped, that shift is worth mentioning to a vet, rather than assuming it's purely behavioural. So if this video doesn't match your cat exactly, that's fine. Trusting cats shows up in a lot of forms: a slow blink from across the room, following you to the bathroom for no reason, sitting just close enough to touch, or being the first one at the door when you get home. Sleeping on you is one expression of it, not the only one. So why you? Out of every warm spot, every quiet corner, every safe-looking space in the entire house, why do they climb onto you specifically? Here's the piece we've been building toward. In the wild, sleep is one of the most dangerous things a cat does. A sleeping cat can't run, can't fight, can't see a threat coming. Cats are predators, yes, but they're also prey to larger animals, and a lot of their behaviour is shaped by that dual identity. Their instincts are generally built to avoid fully letting go unless the surroundings feel secure enough to justify it. That's a big part of what you likely represent to your cat. Not a heater, not a soft mattress, very possibly one of the few reliable places where a deep old survival instinct finally quiets down. Remember that belly-up position from earlier? This is what makes it meaningful. When a cat exposes its most vital, least protected area and settles into a deep sleep against you, it's choosing in that moment not to guard the one thing every instinct usually tells it to protect. It's not proof, and it's not guaranteed every single night. Cats are individuals, moods shift, environments change, but when it happens consistently, it's about as strong a behavioural signal as a cat is able to give that it doesn't see you as a threat. Your cat's brain runs on instincts millions of years old, and on the nights it chooses to sleep deeply against you, something in that old system has effectively decided you're safe. That's not a small thing. So tonight, when they climb up, settle in. And let their eyes fully close, you'll know a little more about what's actually happening. They're not just sleeping on you. In their own limited, instinctive language, they're telling you that out of everywhere they could be, you're one of the places they feel safe enough to fully let go.